So remember, we don't have 9-volt power source power in this thing, guys. If you, maybe that helps explain it from my position, because I'm not the greatest with quantum mechanics and astrology and Epson's energy generator dynos, but this is what I would use. Eventually, I would have to say, okay, self computer programmer, build this. I need a dyno. I need some kind of way to be bones, really. I mean, it's like just be the structure in which this thing builds. And it won't do this tomorrow. I'm sure, maybe I can see some patterns, gravitational waves. It started to, and then it broke down. It said, for whatever reason, the black hole, what it is, ate a lot of stuff or stopped eating a lot of stuff, so I fell into gravity a lot that way. But because of whatever other system, we don't really know, Milk-Dromeda collisions and stuff like that that's out there. You could acquire that to an acquisition or a capitulation or whatever words, crypto, A delta B, you want to use, or in a combination, A plus B, algebraically, that would change that result. And, I'll be saying, in another week or two, I'll be saying stuff like, well, given the analysis of its free flow or its hold rating on something, it's definitely going to change that now. And I can't tell you it's one way or the other. Oh, this means sell. This could mean tomorrow it's going to be a solid buy. It might stand up because they're counter-soil with each other, much like the charts here. You got to put all that together. And I'm still in that learning phase. I just am not good enough to call it, but hopefully you can tell I'm not about to go through it. We'll just put this up here. I'll actually show you, because if we were doing this as a group or a classroom, this is what I would have to do. I don't want to do, have to do. Let's see here. Let me get into this. So again, you think that's the CEO of this company? It may not be. This could just be some asshole Powell's trying to put down because, they set it up. Now, this could be a lot of the mountain, too. It done its system. Somebody poked that in there, liked to let it ride, didn't want to go along with it, sold that back over. Those measurements seem pretty close to me. Why? Well, maybe they set it up at here, knew a deciding idea about the market that gave this a better mass and velocity and momentum individually. Change the momentum at the position, it's going to change the physical photon that it's at, right? And so 4-phase, this is what it did, and this changes 2 different ways. It changes up, it changes down, and flat is neutral to that idea. And so when you're dealing with a background gravity, that's going to tell me a lot about its mass if I'm talking about Alpha Centauri. If I point the telescope at it and decide to look at it at certain points, I would say every time it's got stars roughly this big around it that it likes to eat. And when it does, it takes roughly this long to do it, or there'll be a gas burst. When the mathematics behind it is exothermic, just because this is eating a lot of gas, this will create a quasar. But that is a rapid deceleration of gas in a vacuum, which drops temperature. That's why quasars are actually very, very cold, not hot. Now, it's a lot of hot gas, but immediately, it gives it a charge, right? So it's in there, it's hydrogen gas or whatever, mixing that stuff up there, you'll get a lot of Betelgeuse type supermassive O types because that's a pressure differential. This temperature's I hat, J hat, it dovetails, and that creates that twister gravity, kind of Brownian mechanics, life in the ocean out of salt and water, and a couple of other minerals vibrate, they have charge, and they'll connect to other things. And given long enough, that's going to say that mechanics, which I don't believe I'm totally on. I know it has to be hydrogen gambit. Everything is hydrogen gambit. So myself against the wall, any person when I'm the wall for somebody else makes me either a 0 or a 1 in that diagram. F1 plus F2, given the Coulomb charges to each other, or resistance when Coulombs are factored to a copper wire, and therefore the fuzzles out of it that are three-phase: heat, light, sound. Usually with light becomes this sound or heat depending on how far it was on one indicator or the other, right? And so that's going to change how you positioned or were looking at it, or whatever. So what do we want here? We want paper trades. Okay, so I don't have a position in here right now. I closed out, so I'll set in tomorrow. This is my free set. I have one that's half set, and I have one that's one position that is all 2,500. And again, when I'm playing that, I very specifically do not put this in there, because it'll make it a lot harder to pull that back. Here I'm still up, but for my day I was down because points and the way I did it. Now again, I got clipped, not necessarily that was the mechanic, but you could argue both are a possibility. Which momentum or position was I in at that time? Because if I had that position but I had a weird momentum to it, I'm a day trader, I'm all over the charts, that's gonna make me real antsy inside of there about, well, I don't know if that's really the bottom, or I better get it in there at 9:30 or 10 o'clock before it gets crazy and she just blows out the bottom, and that seems to be something that in the helical, right, the left-handed spin, right-handed spinnedness of that, that it comes back over. Let me just show you this real quick here, this hot damn mess of what I did. That's a lot of today, and this goes all the way back. I'm grinding. Let's see if that was still today. So that's where a lot of those points that came in to save my ass came from, just in that early morning thing, because where I was for a lot of those positions, I definitely closed out a couple of negatives. I burnt time all day because I was out of cycle in a lot of those terms. So then when I was chasing it, I'm getting this gravitational wave background, right? I got these 20 bodies around me. I don't care. It's Betelgeuse, Alpha Centauri, or, Jupiter, Saturn, Venus, Neptune, Mercury. Sun. Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, I do believe Saturn, Jupiter, Neptune, Pluto, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or Neptune, 9th, I do believe, including 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, well, 8 plus 9. I don't know, I might have missed one in there. Uranus or Saturn or something. At any rate, back to Campbell Soup. Now, Comcast kind of did that too as well. They had a great day yesterday. I like their chart better. And because this is their house, they can't escape the gravity of it, really, about this timeline right there. And I mean, this is the longest chart it has. This is since 1981. I don't think you need all that, but look, this is nice. I mean, it's good that they don't have this Oracle pin that's upside down backwards, right? There was Oracle. She has one of these, and she just stands straight up, comes down, comes over, and then like everybody else in there, they've been running flat for years. Nobody liked them. Maybe there was a changeover in CEO. That mass of that black hole just changed. It took all of that, and at that moment, something's going to change. And so it doesn't matter what the calc is. Again, the stone mill has this same 45-45. That's basically what it did. I come in the morning, and the normal little Flubel cranks start me over. If it wasn't for yesterday, where the origin source starts higher than 0, by whatever means it got it there, give it any potential at that point, because again, we are, we are moving in this direction. When it is here, there is that kind of pressure, the gravity, how gravity feels in this environment. So again, my position is relative. Those $2,500 units like that can be one share. I could just make that one portfolio, and that's all it's doing. But for right now, again, it just keeps me so I don't overdo my shares on accident, clicking buttons, getting antsy. Not that it's really a safety belt, but it kind of, I can't overclick it. Where in one share where I had $10,000, I moved 2 of them, and I forgot to put one back on. Well, that's unpotentialed money, even if it was up or down, unless I was waiting. I am right here. There's nothing else really in my charts that I I'm in love with, because, I'm not expecting Powell wants it to do this, but still the number of what this is going to have a big operator eventually. I just don't know when it is, whether it's the company's earnings or whether it's just some big mountain that's been running for 2 weeks with those stacked on top of each other. It was like, all right, fine, I'll jump into it now and sell. Even if they come back to the mountain, that just wrecked my liver and everything else downrange. Where even if it had this kind of potential and more on upright, and that's a lot of what these charts were supposed to be. Now, again, don't take into consideration we go along on one of the charts, and somebody could argue without some change in what it is, or why that is relative on the much longer charts. Excuse me. What do we want here? We want these right here. Right, go over back to Campbell Soup for a second here. These are a lot easier to see. This is big gravity far away through a telescope, and on supersymmetry scale, here's the chain sword, right? So, that's when I'm going to do this. So even if it was downhill and I started, dummy me, not thinking about it, but here I'm not sure that that's going to do that yet. It did. That was, not very nice. I'll be here for a few days if that's what that was. But, that's where you're living. And maybe that'll lock in some of your portfolio. One of the things, you don't just keep doubling it down like General Mills today. And me, holy crap. Oh, I was down 33% on this monster today. Just get over to it so I show you. And, just me telling the class, hopefully this is my class. You would be watching this video. Why? All right, then. To be able to see, you could tell, much like those diagrams, I wanted to be here, I wanted to be there. I wasn't. I made some serious rookie mistakes that didn't. And you know what? That's on me. I shouldn't. Once I've scored my points, which I don't know yet, today would be a day. If I was on the PL like that, I'm like, all right. One, it's risky. Two, it's not very healthy for this mountain for me to keep shorting this, even if I'm pulling it out like that, if I believe that it's changing one of these lines too fast. Now, again, my position is lighter than a feather, heavier than a granite obelisk build, and I'm trying to design that. So, again, it is in morning, make a hit, don't care, it's scary, but have faith in these larger numbers because of the Fed and some of those bigger capitalists that play well with this idea, that I'm in a way helping them if I do the timing correctly. Of course, I don't know, and I don't have somebody showing me like an uncle or somebody who actually knows what this is, and I'm not going to college for it. I would rather learn this way, seeing that it's a free game that I can play and, be antsy and FOMO all about it, well, if you had it in there, it'd be the best opportunity in the universe. Well, I'll grind it out. So again, do on that thesis. I'm going to change this eventually so this test requires me, not a bunch of rookies or my sharps or salty guy, but I would tell them, try this boot barn technique. Pull your account down on a paper trade to $100. Buy one General fucking Mills and build. Even though there were dips in here, you were making the right moves. Even though this was a downhill slide, I don't think you could have done it today. I made a number about it as far as how to catch there. Yeah, that hurt my duodenum pretty good today, because given that noon thing, I was like, this could start picking up, and I put in there. I was like, okay, she didn't. I rebought, and then I split my share because it was still down, and then she dropped over. But every single one of those increments, not that I clicked a button or canceled or buyed, but I was certainly there for every one of those, because for me, I'm not trying to have it stand up and catch 40 points here. I'm just trying to catch, at this part of the day, 2 maybe, and that's 2% up, or by 2 points up, I might be 1%, and that's actually what I did in my PL. And if I do that consistently over it, then, and I'm picking stocks that have super high growth, I don't feel so bad about the name in terms of it. And again, I'm not in European banking. I'm not in crazy. These should be all names that I have in my shopping cart or just by the fact that they have done what they have done in the world. I can take a hit on them and, not feel that version of it half of my other paycheck if I can get this dialed in for everybody, or have the market help that system, which it kind of already does. It's just missed old law stonecutters technique. Yeah, and that's honestly what it is when it comes to leadership. So, catch you in the next one.